I'm Kevin Mims with the Invading Sea, a Florida-wide media collaborative that reports on climate change in the state. As part of that effort, we've started The Business of Climate Change, a weekly interview with businessmen and women whose companies are either affected by the warming climate or address climate challenges. Today's conversation is with Doug Coward, Executive Director of the Solar and Energy Loan Fund. Doug, thanks for talking with us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Kevin.
So, Doug, your career in Florida has spanned 3 decades and you have a background in environmental planning. How has climate change affected you personally, and what kind of changes have you seen over the years?
Well, I would say probably the most significant thing is, hurricane-related activity. I've been in Florida almost 4 decades, and I've experienced more hurricanes than I can count. But over the last, 20 years, we've seen the number of billion-dollar storm events, increasing pretty rapidly. I think we've had I think I saw the latest numbers were like 291 different billion-dollar events since 1980 at a cost of almost $2 trillion. And in 2020, we experienced 22 such disasters. So the frequency and intensity of the storms has certainly affected not only me, but obviously the entire state, and particularly the low and moderate income homeowners who we focus on. So I personally have had damage to my home. I've had a tree fall on my house. We've had flooding impacts. Obviously, temperature increases have also affected quality of life and the cost of energy and so forth and so on. So yeah, we've seen lots of different effects from climate change. And it's my passion in life to work on addressing climate change and particularly trying to help low and moderate income homeowners.
Doug, can you tell us about what the Solar and Energy Loan Fund does and why you started it?
Sure. And it really stems back to my 12 years serving as a St. Lucie County Commissioner. And I was trying to promote the clean energy economy. I'm fighting off a coal plant proposal from the largest utility in the state. We're really working in an environment that was uh, punitive, really towards clean energy. And I got tired of beating my head against a wall in Tallahassee and trying to get permission from an energy monopoly to promote the right types of energy technologies in the state, which is really solar and energy efficiency. So I think it was out of pure frustration that I was unable to make any progress at the state level, that I finally realized that we needed to try and solve the problem from the local level, and really more of a bottom up organic solution. And we felt that financing was one of the keys to unlocking the clean energy economy. The technologies are proven, the return on investments are solid. But if you're a working class person and you don't have savings and you may not have a great credit score, you don't have access to low cost capital, how do you participate and benefit from the clean energy economy? How do you also, weatherize your home and make it safer and more efficient if you don't have the resources to invest in it? So it was really with that as a background that we decided to create the first local government green bank in America, with the seed grant through the Obama administration, that innovative local clean energy financing programs. We're very fortunate to get the initial seed grant to begin the program in one county, St. Lucie, back in 2010. And then our goal was to basically pilot this new Green Community Development Financial Institution, or CDFI, see if we could actually make it work and then scale it throughout the state. So we started the program 10 years ago. We have been growing region by region. We first grew out throughout the Treasure Coast, then we partnered with the city of St. Pete and Hillsborough County and opened up the Gulf Coast region. This past summer, we teamed up with Orange County and the city of Orlando and the Energy Foundation to open up Central Florida. And we're currently working right now to open up Atlanta and Miami. So really, we're just trying to provide people with access to low cost financing so that they can invest in a variety of sustainable building practices. And we do a lot of loans for high efficiency ACs, roof repairs and replacement, hurricane shutters, solar technologies, but basically providing unsecured personal loans, generally around five or $10,000, to help people gain access to low-cost financing and then benefit from these investments in their own properties.
Got it. So, Doug, what are some of the main projects Self is working on?
Well, the main thing that the Solar and Energy Loan Fund does is provide existing affordable housing owners with access to low cost financing so they can fix up those structures. So the majority of what we're doing is loans directly to homeowners who are then making these improvements. And that would primarily be single family homes, but not exclusively. If somebody owns a townhouse or a condo or even a mobile home, we're able to provide, small microloans to assist them as well. But we've also not only been scaling our residential programs, but we've also been diversifying our lending products. We want to be able to provide options and solutions to more sectors of the community. So, for example, in 2019, we just received a grant through JP Morgan Chase to help work on developing a new multi-family lending product. So we're working with the South Florida Community Land Trust and the Palm Beach County Land Trust, and basically leveraging that $5 million grant into about $70 million of retrofits to existing multifamily structures. And our intention is to incorporate sustainable building practices like we do in our single family sector, helping with high efficiency ACs, LED lighting, solar, and so forth. We also have developed new septic to sewer conversion loans as a new partnership in Martin County, working with their utility. We have water quality problems in the state, almost 3 million septic tanks, and there's a void, there's a need. And so Self stepped in and partnered with Martin County's utility, set up an on-bill financing program. And we've just launched that recently, and we've already done about $300,000 of septic to sewer conversion loans. We just, in the last month, received a grant through the Opportunity Finance Network, which is a national organization of CDFIs that teamed up with Twitter to provide a new financial justice fund. And we're one of the first CDFIs in America to qualify for a grant that we're in the process of finalizing right now. And we're going to use that grant to open up a new landlord lending product with the Atlanta Housing Authority to work in high energy burden areas of the Atlanta metro area. And basically, we also have some other special projects. We just received a grant through the Leon Lowenstein Foundation, and we're working with Miami-Dade County to put solar PV and a solar battery storage component onto an existing multi-family public housing project with low-income residents, which will not only help cut the operating costs of that facility, but will also provide them with assistance during storm-related events. We're basically trying to cover the critical energy load so that when the power goes out, there'll be enough battery storage to be able to run the lights and be able to refrigerate medicines, be able to provide some areas with cooling to help with elderly clients. So that's just kind of a short list of projects that the Solar Energy Loan Fund is currently working on.
So, Doug, how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected the work you're doing?
Well, it's been an interesting and challenging year. I'll tell you, when the pandemic was first announced in March, we closed down all of our offices and everyone was working from home. Our first item of concern was our outstanding loan portfolio in excess of 5 million, and what impact would the pandemic have on people's ability to repay those loans. We were very fortunate that the number of folks that needed relief was quite small. It was less than 3%. And so we did provide some flexibility to help people, like kind of a 90-day grace period to help people get back on track. And we've essentially been able to help every single one of those folks get back on track. So that did not turn out to be a major problem. And then the second issue was what was going to be the impact on demand moving forward. And of course, we didn't have a good handle on that. But, lesson learned looking back is that we had record-breaking decreases in energy use overall, but in the residential sector, it actually went up. And that's, of course, because the stay-at-home orders and the amount of time that people were spending at home was, unlike any other year before. And so one of the other interesting things is that the home improvement sector was one of the few sectors of the economy that actually has been booming through the pandemic. Home Depot and Lowe's are making record profits. And we're a nonprofit lender that's doing home improvement lending. So by happenstance, we actually, our lending activity increased by 84% in calendar year 2020 during the pandemic with our entire team working from home. And then overall, we've increased our lending activity by about 400% in the last 3 years. So we have found that the demand in working class neighborhoods is essentially at an all-time high. People need help, whether it's their ACs that need to be replaced. Letters have just been sent out to tens of thousands of Floridians from their insurance companies saying if you don't get your roofs fixed, you could either lose your insurance or your premium's going to go up. So there's lots of folks that are scrambling to try and figure out how do I get my roof repaired. But we're doing our best to try and meet a burgeoning demand within the state and candidly the United States. We're beginning to spread our wings and go into other states as well. But there's a tremendous demand. We currently have a pipeline of over $2 million of projects that we're working through the approval process.
Doug, what advice do you have for homeowners and business owners who are interested in switching to renewable energy or making other sustainable property improvements?
Well, on a very high level, I would advise homeowners and businesses to look at the cheapest fixes first. And that's generally energy conservation and energy efficiency. Those are really the best bang for the dollar to start. I always find it entertaining when people come to me and everybody loves solar. So they immediately come in and say, yeah, I've got high energy bills, so I want to build this solar system. Well, the first thing to look at is why do you have high energy bills? It may be that you have, an old AC that's not running properly, that is not high efficiency. You may not have proper weatherization. You may have jalousie windows, and your AC is literally streaming out your windows. Solar is not going to solve that. So the first thing you need to do is really focus on the conservation and efficiency side, reduce your overall use of energy, and then size a solar PV system, to meet that reduced demand. It's the most cost-effective way to do it. So that's one of the things that Self does is we don't just provide low-cost financing and do so in a financial inclusion way where people can gain access to it, but we're helping to provide them with energy expertise and guidance through this process. And again, since we focus on LMI homeowners, oftentimes they'll come to us with a wish list beyond their ability to pay. And so what we often will do is help them prioritize where to start, do a loan for the high efficiency AC, and then 3 years later, maybe a tax return comes in, they're able to pay off the totality of that loan. Now they're ready to tackle the roof or the impact windows or whatever the next stage is. But the demand out there is overwhelming. And I hear a lot of times, the private sector can just fill this gap. Well, the reality is that many people cannot access traditional financing. For example, we have over 700 contractors in our network, and they tell us that 20 to 40% of all their clients that they're trying to help cannot qualify for traditional financing. So Self is stepping in and filling that financial gap so that the homeowner can secure financing without having to rely on a predatory lender, benefit from those improvements, but also that local green business is now able to expand their business activity and help more LMI homeowners in the process. So if we do this right, we can help the homeowners and the contractors through this process.
Doug, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have a good day.